the Speak in Code podcast. And now introducing Code, Conspiracy of a Dead Man.
Over 100 people dead.
Chante, the homie. Servant with a noble cause. And Teddy Bear Dynamite. These are the hosts of the Speak in Code podcast.
Much love, everybody.
Definitely, man. Thanks for jumping on with us. We finally get to have you
No.
back. So, yeah, man, I just wanted to, I feel like we needed to do some sort of like emergency episode. I've been mentioning stuff in our texts, and I've been thinking about things. I've talked to you guys about it, Swank and Chente and yourself. And
Yeah.
I've been meaning to do like an episode on it and trying to find a few texts. So if I can, what the heck? I think this will be episode 14 though.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have to search a text. I feel like I'm doing this a lot lately. Okay. So yeah, let me see. It's just it all, or I think I'm ready to roll if you are.
I am 100% ready, sir.
Before I forget, I just wanted to give a shout out to Shield Republic. My friend, she sent me a shirt. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'll have to turn around. But she sent me a shirt, and it's a conspiracy, like biblical, like Bible conspiracy shirt.
Oh, okay.
Can you see it okay or not really?
Noah was a conspiracy theorist. Then it rained.
No. With that being said, the reason why that's so, I feel like
Prevalent?
so what?
Prevalent?
Yeah, for today specifically, is I wanted to talk to you about like spirituality and stuff, and the way
Okay.
that people come to faith or religion and different things like that. And this episode might not be for everybody, but everybody might need to hear it. That's all I got to say about that. The interesting part, when people always say like Noah was a conspiracy theorist, but then it started to rain. It wasn't just because he was told that there was going to be a massive flood and he needed to start building this ark.
Mhm.
I think it took him years and years and years to build the ark. I don't think it was just like he built it in a day. He didn't build it in a year. I think it took. I'm almost certain. I could even Google it, but because I will, because I feel like asking these questions, I should probably be able to back it up. But how long? And this is just hypothetical. I'm not sure how long. All right. It says, according to most interpretations of the Bible, it likely took Noah around 55 to 75 years to build the ark, with the most likely time frame being around 75 years based on the age of his sons when God instructed him to build it. However, the exact time is not explicitly stated in the text. So if somebody was like, hey, there's a flood coming, be ready, and they're building this thing for 75 years, maybe there was 100-year storm, but that wasn't the case. The land that Noah was in, and I'm fact checking myself right now as I speak.
Yeah.
The land Noah was in for the ark story. So it's according to the Bible, Noah's ark landed on the mountain of Ararat, which is traditionally believed to be the location in the region of present-day eastern Turkey near the peak of Mount Ararat. This is where Noah was when he left the ark after the flood subsided. So maybe we don't know exactly where he was, but what I was told, and I'm trying to find out. So like how often did it rain where Noah was before the flood? Okay. So it says the Bible does not explicitly state whether it rained before the flood, but there are different interpretations. In Hebrews 11, chapter 11, verse 7, it interpreted to mean that it never rained before the flood. Others say that the Bible says there was no rain in the Garden of Eden before the fall. Some say it did rain. Others believe that it did not rain before the flood. They point to Genesis 2:6, which says the streams watered the earth's surface. The water, which is a natural process that involved evaporation, cloud formation, and precipitation. The Hebrew word translated as mist in the King James Version may be better rendered as stream. So what I was under the interpretation was, I was under the impression that, and I heard this from somebody. I just don't know how factual this is or what the case. But if they said that this place never rained, then that makes it even more so that he definitely was he sounded like what today would be considered a conspiracy theorist.
Yes.
Like one of us, like, hey, yeah, this is going to happen. Or have you ever heard of Q or like Anons and the QAnons or anything like that?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's something, it would be like that. Like those people are crazy. Why? Well, because they're saying this, and this is going to happen. And then you never saw it happen, or it happened with different context or whatever behind it. But anyway, long story short, the reason why I think that Noah was considered a conspiracy theorist and then it started to rain wasn't only that it took him 55 to 75 years to build the ark, but I was told that the place that he was living in, it didn't rain for 400 years prior to that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's why he sounded so crazy. I mean, and who knows? I mean, maybe that's the misinterpretation of the Bible, or maybe I'm misinterpreting it. Just saying.
Yeah.
But I wanted to pull up a video. I wanted to make this more of like a spiritual, or we could talk religion. Some people come to faith different ways. This doesn't even have to be a long episode. I just figured I would throw this out here. I thought it was kind of cool. I listened to this kid who had a prophecy and a dream, and he realized something about sin. So I was going to play that video for you real quick.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Do you have an idea what I'm talking about now?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm going to be talking about a Holy Spirit revelation that I was given like 8 months ago. It is going to blow your guys' brains up. It's about the brain, it's about sin and how it affects us and why God designed us the way he did. I'm telling you, this is going to be such useful information for you guys. It's going to help you so much with your sin. There's this part of the brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, and I learned this from an Andrew Huberman podcast. The anterior mid-cingulate cortex is responsible for every human's will to live. How does it work? When you do things that you do not like to do, let's say you hate running, but you run anyways, the anterior mid-cingulate cortex grows in size, which then increases your will to live. It also works in the reverse way. So if you keep doing things that please you, that you want to do, your anterior mid-cingulate cortex shrinks in size and then decreases your will to live. It's seen in a lot of obese patients. They typically have a small anterior mid-cingulate cortex because they keep doing things that they want to do. They keep pleasing themselves with food and they keep not exercising because they don't like to exercise. Anyways, that's just an example. Let's keep going. This is where the Holy Spirit came in. Apply that same exact thinking to sin. This is why God says the wages of sin is death. at least one reason. There's a plethora, but sin is tempting. That's why it's called temptation. Humans have this weird fascination with evil. In everybody's flesh, it wants to sin. When you withhold from that sin, you are doing something that you do not want to do, because we all initially want to sin. This means that when you withhold from sin, your anterior mid-cingulate cortex grows in size, which then increases your will to live. Also works in the reverse way. If you indulge in sin, your anterior mid-cingulate cortex shrinks in size, which decreases your will to live. It makes perfect sense. Think about it. Satan, he doesn't really care if you sin because he knows that you can go to Christ for repentance. Satan wants you to fall into despair via sin. He wants you to off yourself like he did to Judas, because Judas didn't go to Christ for repentance. When we indulge in sin like that, our will to exist decreases. It's like God put this thing in our brain that rewards us when we abide and obey him. If that's not evidence for a loving God that designed us a specific way, I don't know what is. That's like the holy grail of evidence. Anyways, I hope you guys loved this. Repent, believe the Gospels. I love you guys.
It was interesting that he realized that that sin is something we enjoy doing. And the more we do it, the faster you can die from it. The more we don't want to do something, not sin, the longer we can live. There is a hormonal imbalance to it too. In your brain, where if you keep doing easy things that you enjoy, there was something to it. And then that's pretty much what he was saying. Like the cortex, if you keep doing things that you enjoy, the part in your brain starts getting smaller and smaller, and then you can die from it because it's an easy, simple task that you enjoy. But like, have you ever tried something? I mean, I know you have too. I mean, especially like if we're working out, you're doing something hard and then you hit that goal. It's like, oh, you have so much more like, or even if you're working on something, like even working, like even at like, if you're helping somebody out, like you're at your grandma's house helping her out with something, you're like,
Yeah.
man, I don't want to do this task at all. It doesn't sound fun at all. You know, it's taking the majority of my day. But then when you're done with it, you would feel like not only did you achieve something, but you did something for like your grandma that made you feel good after the fact. It's not that it has to make you feel good. You know, like that's not where I'm getting at. Like the things that we do in life, it's not to make us feel good about ourselves. Like, for example, if you're helping out at church or something and like somebody's like, hey, it's raining out, you know, like, and you grab an umbrella and you just walk somebody to their car out of the goodness of your heart. You're not even thinking about it. But then after the fact, they tell you like, hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Like, oh, I would have been soaked without you. Or, I mean, never mind. But, so, I mean, when you do stuff like that and it's like, you're just doing it on a whim. You're not like thinking like, oh, I have ulterior motives to do something because I'm going to feel good about myself. But if you do something, then that feeling of goodness, like that good feeling is even more powerful, I think. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
So that was one thing that I was thinking about or that I wanted to share. And then, sorry, my dogs opened the door.
Oh.
Yeah. But,
They're skinwalkers.
yeah. But there was that I wanted to talk about. And then also, I was going to talk to you about Magic Mind. Oh,
Magic Mind?
yeah, Magic Mind. One thing I realized is in this light, it's the same color as my shirt. And I also, after drinking Magic Mind, I had one earlier. I'm not going to double dose. And my dogs keep scratching at my door. But Magic Mind is freaking great. It helps with my mental clarity, helps me come up with these crazy ideas that we have. And it also helped me to realize that the color of my shirt is olive green, and the blonde and brown in my color of my beard at the same time makes my shirt and my beard look like, and my hair look all the same olive green color.
Yeah.
So didn't have that hypothesis and notice until today as I went to the restroom and saw the light and everything was glistening and gleaming and beard oil and a green shirt, and I'm like, oh, I look like an olive.
Well, since you're not going to double dose, I'm going to single dose.
Oh boy, there you go.
I need that mental clarity for the rest of this episode, and so I can focus on that.
Yeah. Oh, are you gonna watch Raw You gonna get raw with raw or what?
I'm going to get raw with raw.
Sounds like a shirt.
Oh,
But yeah, definitely go hit up. I almost said. Definitely go hit up Magic Mind. Go to magicmind.com/SpeakInCOAD20 for 20% off of your one-time purchase, and then you get 48% off of your first-time subscription. So
okay.
yeah,
48 for a first time and 20 for the one-time purchase.
Yep, or anytime purchase.
Anytime
like,
purchase. Okay.
like if you're just buying, like, maybe you're buying a pack of these and you're like, you know what, I just want to try it once. I don't want to get a ton of them. You can just get one box and then you get 20% off. But then if you're like, you know what, stuff sounds really good on this podcast, and they say that they use Magic Mind all the time, so maybe you want to use that subscription. You get almost 50% off the subscription, and
Okay.
it will just roll in. So, like, for example, mine just hit on my account, and I've been ordering 3 boxes and then hooking people up and also hooking up you guys in the podcast. If people come over to my house and we're like, hey, let's record a podcast, I'm like, oh, did you bring your Magic Mind? They're like, no. I'm like, I got plenty. Don't even trip. Don't worry. Get your mind right with Magic Mind.
Oh, I like that. Get your mind right with Magic Mind.
Yeah.
Put it on a shirt.
Put it on a shirt. That's awesome. But the other thing I wanted to talk to you too about was I found, all right, so my sister's always telling me about this guy, or these guys. I think there's 3 of them. I only know the names of 2 of them. It's Sal and Adam, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but it's on a podcast called Mind Pump. And Mind Pump, they're all personal trainers. They all know about nutrition and diets and stuff like that. And they try different diets, they try different fads, they try all these different things, to kind of explain like what works best for them, and that way they could better help their guests, or not guests, but audiences and stuff, and the people that actually like subscribe to them. So you could check out their podcast, and they have like different workout plans that you can buy and try and whatever. And like one of the guys, he was like, people kept asking him like, hey man, what's up with this Ozempic stuff? Like, is it good for me to use? Is it not? They're like, I'm diabetic. Or like other people that were just heavier, they're like, I want to use it to help lose weight. It's like the quick fix pill type of thing, for diet and stuff. So he was like, you know what? I'll try it myself. I've been wanting to lose some weight. I'll try it myself, and I'll see the difference, and I'll let people know, so that way they could kind of figure out if it's something that they want to actually do or not do. So he pretty much like guinea pigged himself, and he tried this Ozempic stuff. He lost a bunch of weight, but then he said, as soon as I got off of it, I got extremely hungry. So he went from having 0 appetite because he was on Ozempic, which that's what it's supposed to do, to after he got off of it, he was so hungry all the time. And I think there was, I don't want to like misspeak on this, but I think there was different things that Ozempic was doing, that it was cutting cravings. There was like a receptor in your brain where instead of just cutting cravings for your hunger, like people would take it and be like, I'm not even hungry. I don't have that craving. I don't have that. And then there was other people that were taking it, and they were noticing that they were quitting bad habits pretty easily.
Like stopping smoking or nail biting, things like that.
Yeah, because it cut off a receptor of something that made them addictive or habit forming. It cut off all their bad habits, I think, in a way. And it was very interesting to hear their point of view on it. But anyway, the guy Sal, he was on another podcast. I think it's called Raw Talk with Bradley Martyn. Bradley Martyn's a huge like fitness influencer. He has like he would always go to a bunch of different gyms and work out with all these different influencers and stuff like that, and people on Instagram. He's probably 30. Man, I think he's like maybe 33, 34, 35, somewhere around there, max. And he's just a jack dude. He's a bigger dude. He's shredded. nice beard, nice shaved head, always got the hat on, rocking the hat. But he always has like random guests on, either their fitness, there's either like Instagram people or YouTube people, influencers, or he'll bring on some famous people to have different conversations with and stuff too.
Okay.
And some of the episodes that he's been doing recently that I've seen, especially after he had George Janko on, and he was questioning his faith and his beliefs. And I think his dad committed suicide when he was like maybe 6 years old, and it leads to a lot of trauma when you lose a family member that young and somebody that you feel that you love so much, and they take themselves out. You know, it's like, well, was it me? And I think those types of questions always came to him at some point, at one point or another in his life.
Uh-huh.
But one of the things that I was listening to was Sal, and he was talking about like a way that he found God in a way. And there was just some other things I wanted to touch on, but I'm going to play this, and I could pause it. Just let me know, and I'll pause it, okay?
Okay.
So present the screen. We'll do this, and then we'll cut in and out. Like I'll speed up some stuff, and we don't even have to worry about showing everything. I just wanted to kind of talk about it. But this part is where Sal's journey from being an atheist to converting to Christianity.
Of your worship, it's going to lead you down the wrong path. I think that's a good place. I think to start.
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
Have
Okay.
you ever been in a place like that? You unconsciously
Are you
worship?
kidding me, bro? Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, it's the story of my life. 100%. I mean, this has been a long journey for me, but more recently now, it's much more of a conscious decision. For me, this is my own personal story. Becoming a real Christian really only happened about 7 months ago. But up until then, this was a struggle. Yeah,
That's really recent.
yeah. This was
What changed?
man. I've been searching for a long time. I was an atheist, hardcore. Like I would have debated anybody. You sat me down and debate.
This is crazy. Okay, this
Yeah.
is really interesting.
Yeah.
Why did you identify like that?
Well, so
Like, why did that start before we get into the God thing?
Yeah. So a real atheist is actually closer to God than somebody who doesn't think about this stuff. Because a real atheist is looking.
Yeah.
Like most people don't even think about it. They don't really look, right? If you ask them, they'll give you an answer, but they're not really like, for whatever reason, I was always searching. Like, what's the answer? What started all this? Like, so as a young man, I was an atheist because the world evidence to me was like, oh, there's no magic. It's all science and what's in front of your face. It's the physical world. So I was always searching. So that's how it started. And then I eventually became agnostic because, make a long story short, I realized how arrogant I was. Like, I'm pretty damn arrogant to say there is no God. Absolutely. I'm as arrogant as the people that say there is for sure a God. So I'm probably more agnostic. Like, I just don't know. I just don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
And then about 7 years ago, we interviewed Bishop Barron. He's a Catholic bishop. And I found him because he's really, really smart, and he'll debate and communicate anything openly. And I watched him. There was a clip. Jordan Peterson kind of opened me up to the wisdom of religion, because at that point I thought religion was just stupid and whatever. And Jordan Peterson's done this very well. He's like, actually, there's a lot of wisdom, and it's what built society and civilizations.
See, one of the things though with Jordan Peterson, I don't mind him. I used to like kind of listen to him a lot more earlier on. Like he would be on Joe Rogan and stuff, and they would be talking about how he got famous. He was like a professor at a school in Canada, and they wanted him to use pronouns for people, and he was refusing to. He's like, you're just gonna whatever. Long story short, he would always debate people. He was very intellectual, very smart. But then when they would ask him if he believed in God, he was, even to this day, he still like circles around the question. Like,
Okay.
well, it all depends on what you describe as the belief. What does the word belief mean to you? And why do you think that you should believe in something? Like you feel like, and he goes like, he just circles all around everything. And instead of being
Without
like, yeah,
actually answering the question.
what's that?
I said without actually answering the question.
Yeah. And it's like, it would be like me asking you like, hey man, what made you believe in God? And you're like, well, to believe in God, you have to have full faith in something and you can't really question it. So to say you believe in something, you don't really believe it if you believe it. You have to think about it and you have to know. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you mean you have to, like, you know? It's like, yeah, that's, you believe in something, that's your faith. You believe in it. Like, you know it because you believe in it. Like, well, it depends on the, and like, dude, like, it just, by the end of the day, it almost sounds like he doesn't believe because of how much he circles around the word belief. And I'm like, bro, it's in the definition. Just, you believe in it or you don't believe in it. But he's like, well, you don't believe in something that you know. Like, do you believe in your, I think that's what it was. He was like, do you believe in your mother and father? And he's like, no, you know them. And I think that's where he was getting at. I think that makes more sense. If you were to say, like, you believe in God, it's something that you don't know. Where I think that's what that's what he's trying to say. But when he actually breaks it down, it just sounds like, he's just crossing over different things and he's not making much sense. Where I think that's what he means to say. It's like, you either you know God or you don't know God. It's not you believe in him. It would be like believing in Bigfoot, or you believe in something because you've seen it or you've never seen it. You have faith that it lives, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
I have this love-hate relationship with all of Peterson's stuff because he seems to get so much right where he walks up to the line, but he doesn't want to cross over.
And is the crossover, you think, connected to a life in academia? Or
no.
What do you think it is?
I wonder, and I'd love to talk to him about this, like, how do you remedy this issue that, because he seems to think that the concept of Jesus as an example is more important than the actual flesh and blood first century itinerant Jewish preacher who was crucified and rose from the dead physically, which is the claim of the Gospels and the rest of the New Testament. That's an example for us to look on and live by. But I actually think that Jesus condemns moralism. And ultimately what I see Peterson doing is looking at Jesus as a moral example. And if Jesus is nothing but a moral example, then you can save yourself and you don't actually need a savior. And so I think actually Jesus would have critiqued that because Jesus was very against moralism.
But that's where I think he's talking about, where, like, he listened to Jordan Peterson, and Jordan Peterson was talking about, like, you don't just believe in God. God and religion created the culture. And it's like, I don't know if I believe in that, because the culture is formed, I think the culture is formed based on what is popular in that location. Does that make sense?
Elaborate.
So, for example, if you look at somebody's culture, it's like tribalism in the location that they're in. People come together and then they create either traditions or roles or different things like that. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, like, the culture is only what's popular at that moment or in that location. And then what happens is, in that moment of time where people become tribalistic and they latch onto something that becomes theirs, then when people start using it other places, then they can say, oh, you're stealing other people's culture, or you're bringing your culture with you. Like, I don't know, there's good and bad, I think, with different cultures, and depending on what you utilize it with or what becomes more popular. Like, for example, let's say during, like, Babylonian times, where people were like, oh, people were crazy and they were like this and they were like that. Like cannibalism. Like, what if cannibalism was a part of their culture? You know, it was popular in that time frame in this specific location where people came together and adopted this as good in a way of living and a way of life, where it could be something different. Like, especially here in the United States, I feel like the culture, they try to use music as a cultural thing where anybody can listen to anything and perform any type of music And I feel like the culture would be the opposite of that. Instead of saying, oh, this is our culture, this is our music, this is our this, but anybody can perform any type of genre of music.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So like I don't know. That's just where it was weird to me, where he's like, religion and God has created the culture. It's like, well, sometimes God isn't the most popular thing, especially in our culture, in our day and age in the United States. I feel like sometimes God isn't always the most popular thing.
Yeah, like you said, it's location and place. So like we go to church. So like a lot of the people that we interact with, we hang around. It is part of their everyday life, part of their culture, part of who they are. But you go to other places, and church, God is the last thing on their mind. It's about paying bills, working, the clothes they wear. So yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So that's just where I don't really agree with what he's saying here, but I'll go back to the video. And
Okay.
then I'll probably skip ahead too, because I think I'm getting a little off track.
Well, opening me up to the wisdom, but I don't believe in I'm like, this is weird, but big part of me is like, I don't believe in that magic. That's how I would have said it.
Yeah.
But I was being pulled in that direction. So anyway, for 7 years, kind of just continuing to search, continue to dabble, meet Arthur Brooks, good friend of mine now. He's a professor at Harvard, and he's Catholic, but very smart scientist. Met him, and that pulled me closer because he's very intelligent, so he could discuss things at that level. Kept pulling me. Went through some struggles, personal struggles with my marriage, and did the ketamine therapy. And, I just kept kind of moving in that direction, but I never really took the leap of like faith, like God is real. Jesus was real. He did this for us. Never did that. And then I had a crazy experience. Wild, bro. So,
This is kind of what I
up
wanted
until that point, up until the story I'm about to tell you, I'm teetering, but I haven't really taken the full like belief, right? I don't think I've shared I don't think I've shared the story on my podcast. So I have a daughter that is going to be 2 soon. She's a year and a half right now, a little over a year and a half. At the time, so she was just turning a year. My wife had noticed some maybe developmental issues with her movement and stuff. Nothing major, like nobody could tell, but moms are very intuitive. So she's like, I think something might be up with baby. I'm gonna take her to the doctors. Took her to the doctor. Doctor's like, I don't know. Let's have her see a neurologist. She took my daughter to a neurologist. The neurologist did an assessment and said, I think she's fine. However, she might, and we can test this, she might have something called spinal tethering. And that's where the spine attaches really low on the sacrum. And what happens is as the baby grows, the spine will stretch and then they'll lose function of their lower half of the body.
Oh,
so if that's the case, we can see it through an MRI. If we do identify it through an MRI, oftentimes we can surgically repair it and there's not an issue. So then we can fix it. However, your 1-year-old's going to have to get an MRI if you want to know for sure. Well, to do an MRI for a 1-year-old can't sit. You ever have an MRI? You're in the machine.
Yeah. So an MRI, if they're gonna have to put her under. As a 1-year-old,
Yeah.
that's not good for them. That's kind of what he's getting at with this.
Yeah.
In obvious ways, like forgive me if you are real that I'm asking you for this, but you need to show me because
So this part is he pretty much just prays out to God, like, hey, I don't know what to believe. I don't know what's going on, but if you are real, please show me. Like, please.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I want to get at with this. It's like some people question God so much. And when they see when they see signs that other people would notice, they chalk it up as coincidence. Like, nah, there's no way. There's no way. But
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is, like, if you are questioning God and you're questioning your faith and your beliefs or whatever the case, like if you don't believe at all and you're like, I want to believe, I want to know what it's like to feel this, or I want to know what this is all about, cry out and just say, like, please, like, speak it like audibly, like, hey,
Yeah.
I want to know if you're real, and if you are real, can you please show yourself to me in some sort of way? Like, it doesn't have to be like, I want to see your face and like show yourself. Like, it not like a demand, but like if you want to tell God, like ask God or tell him like, hey, like, please, I don't know, I'm dealing with some stressful things right now. Like, please make this situation easier for me. Like, I feel like I can't handle this. I don't know what's going on, or whatever the case. Or you could even ask like, hey, I mean, I don't know if I believe in you or not. Can you please show me and give me a sign? And I think that's what I needed to say was just give me a sign.
Give me a sign.
Yeah. So
I just need to see something that I can't explain away.
Yeah.
I need help. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. So we get to the pediatrician.
and that's where I was getting at. Like, so many people, they'll chalk it up as like a coincidence, or they can explain it away. That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
I meant to copy exactly what this guy's saying.
Pediatrician's office, and there was a mix-up on the schedule. Oh, we don't have you on the schedule. So it's like argument back and forth, front desk. Then they're finally like, you know what? We'll get you back in 3 hours from now. We can squeeze you in. So I'm like, so I'm pissed off. I'm like, fine, we'll come back. So then I go to the studio because I'm like, we're supposed to record a podcast. So I'm driving to my studio, and my studio is in downtown San Jose. And there was a parking lot that was next to our studio. And downtown, sometimes you see homeless people or whatever. So as I'm pulling into the parking lot, there's a homeless dude building a fire in the middle of the parking lot. Okay. So like he's got a mattress next to him. His buddy's passed out on some drug. Who knows what he's on.
Yeah.
And he's literally building a fire in the middle of the parking lot.
Sounds very California.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. And he didn't look, this was like, think of homeless. Now think of the craziest homeless person you've ever seen. That's what he looked like, right? Crazy hair, like markings and tattoos up and down his face, right? And he's like building a fire, and looks like he's like into the fire, right? So I pull in the parking lot on the far end, and I look at my rearview mirror, and I see this dude building a fire. And I remembered a story from my friend Arthur Brooks, who I told you about. Yeah. Arthur Brooks, he talked about, I think it was on my podcast, like, if you ever want to give money, I don't remember what the topic was, but he said, if you ever want to give money to a homeless person.
This really resonated with me.
Okay.
For one, how many times do you feel obligated to give somebody money? You know, and you're like, oh, this homeless person or whatever the case, you're like, do I help out or do I just like walk away? Like, what's the best option? You know? So it's like,
yeah.
And then sometimes they'll come up to you. And you're like, I don't want to. I thought this was a really good point where he starts breaking down like what you can do if somebody does ask you if a homeless person or anybody asks you for money, ask for something back in return, but not anything materialistic. So this is where I was getting at with this.
Okay.
One of the best things you could do is ask them for something in return, so that they feel like they're doing something for it. And then, of course, the question is, what do you ask a homeless person for? He said, ask them to pray for you. So if you give a homeless person $5, you give them the money and say, hey, can you please pray for me? And what it does is it makes them feel like they're doing something for you.
Yeah.
And I thought that was profound when I heard it.
Yeah, crazy.
Right?
I never heard that.
Right. It makes sense, right? You give someone money, they're down, they probably, imagine if you were homeless, someone gives you money and you feel like, oh, they got to help me. But imagine now if they ask you for something, you feel good. Like I can do something for you. So I look in the rearview mirror. Remember, I'm praying out loud on the way there, on the way to the pediatrician, on the way to the work. And I look in my rearview mirror and I'm like, maybe I'll ask this guy to pray for me. Right. But I'm looking in the rearview mirror and this dude, he's building a fire. Dude is passed out on a mattress. I'm like, oh no, this guy's gonna give me hepatitis. I can ask him nothing, bro. I'm not asking this guy shit, right? So I just walk away. Like, I don't even walk past him. I'm walking away from him. Okay. So I'm like, I'm not gonna ask this guy for anything. So
now, how often does this happen? Can you get an idea of where he's going with this? Where you're like, how often is it when you start walking away, you start veering the opposite direction of somebody, especially when you see somebody that you're like, I definitely don't want to talk to them, and I definitely don't want them to come up to me. You definitely go in a totally different direction to like be out of the situation. Like, I would rather not be in the situation at all than hear this guy ask me questions or ask me for something.
I'm walking away, and then I hear, excuse me, sir, excuse me. Turn around. It's a fucking homeless dude. So I'm like, so I walk up to him. I said, what's up? And he goes, have a nice day. So I said, you know what? I said, can you do something for me? I didn't give him money or anything. I just asked him. I said, can you do something for me? He says, sure. I said, can you pray for me? And he says, yeah, I could pray for you. He said, what's going on? I said, well, I said, we're taking my daughter to the pediatrician today to get looked at. And then he interrupts me and he goes, is it her spine?
Shut the fuck up.
Swear to God.
Shut up.
Listen to me.
No,
Listen to me. I swear to God.
No.
Listen to me. I swear to God.
No, bro.
I swear on everything. I mean, it's hard not to get choked up talking about it. It's true. So it hit me like a brick, bro. Like he said, is this something with her spine? So I felt like someone punched me. So I said, yeah. I said, actually, maybe. I said, we're going to get an MRI. We need to see if she has something called spinal tethering or whatever. And he says, I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you. And I said, so after that conversation, I had money in my wallet and I thought maybe I'll give him some money, but I didn't give him any money. I said, is there anything I can do for you? And he said, no. He goes, you've done more for me than society's done in a long time. Thanks for talking to me. Here's the second punch I felt, because the day,
Dude, I get chills, man. Like,
Yeah.
what's really cool about it is, if you don't know Bradley Martyn, the guy on the right with the black shirt, he's been questioning and like wanting and searching one way or another to find God, you know. And it's like, you could tell that that's the direction that some of his conversations go. They always lead from like working out. Like, look at the name of the title of the episode. It's called The Truth About Ozempic for Fat Loss. It's like, that was the entire conversation. You know, it's an hour and 54-minute episode, and they get to an hour and 30 minutes or hour and 28 minutes or whatever. And then he starts, Sal, not even realizing it, starts preaching to this guy that's asking for these questions. And this guy's giving him all of the answers.
Yes.
Without realizing that he's there on this podcast, giving this guy the answers that the guy had him on the podcast wasn't even asking those questions. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, that does make sense.
That's how I feel like God works. And when they say in mysterious ways, you have a guy on that's a fitness influencer, bringing on another guy that's a fitness influencer to talk about fitness. And then it leads into faith in religion and stuff. So I just thought this part was really cool. And then I got one more thing, and I'll close out. Okay.
Okay.
day before that, I had just started reading scripture, which I'd never done before. And one of the first things I read was a story about Jesus and how he said the line, what you do to the least of you, you do to me. In other words, how you treat the worst in society, you're doing that to me. I remembered that right there, because the guy said, you did more for me than society's done in a long time. So I must have looked like a ghost. I walked in the studio, I sat down in my chair, and my partners are looking at me. They could obviously tell something happened. Sal, what's the matter? What's wrong? And I can't talk. I'm afraid of opening my mouth. So finally I start talking and I start to tear up, and I'm tears are coming down. I tell him, like, fuck, I don't know. That was God, man. He goes, I don't know what that means. But that was definitely obvious. I asked for obvious. He sent me something obvious. So we recorded a podcast after I gathered myself.
Don't cry, TBD.
And I'm on my way to the pediatrician's office. I'm praying out loud again. God, I know that was you. I saw that. I said, but I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Does that mean we do the MRI? Does that mean?
So just more context. He went to the place to get the stuff done for his daughter. And he was like, I don't know what to do. And he was going there to the appointment to get the stuff done. They delayed him for 3 hours and he's already there. So imagine going somewhere and then them tell you, hey, sorry, we double booked. Can you come back in 3 hours? So then you're frustrated, you're stressed, you're mad. Like, why is this happening? Like, that's so many questions that everybody has when something bad happens to them. But then this is where it turns.
I don't know what that means. So I get to the pediatrician. Now, mind you, one of the challenges we have, we were going to have with this test was that my daughter, she's one, she's shy. She doesn't want, when we go to the doctor, she's grabbing onto my wife and buries her head and doesn't want to come off. And if we peel her off to get weighed or checked, she cries.
Yeah.
So I'm already like, how is she going to do this test? My daughter's going to cry the whole time. She's not going to want to do anything because the test involved picking this up, climb over here, reach for this. Can you say this? Can you do that? Right? I'm like, what's going to happen? Bro, I get there. We bring my daughter in there. And all of a sudden, my daughter becomes a performer. Everything the pediatrician asks. It's like it was like,
Bro, what the
she's climbing, she's reaching, she's laughing, she's interacting for the whole thing. Pediatrician looked at us. She goes, for sure, she's fine. You don't need to do a test. And that was it, man. I was like, that's it. I'm a Christian 100%. And that was it from that point.
Bro, I'm blown away.
Yeah, that's I mean, I still get blown away thinking about it, but now I've had a lot of stuff happen since then, but
Well, because you said that happened 7 years ago, and you said
no. 7 months ago that happened.
Okay.
But 7 years ago is when the journey started.
Okay. So from 7 years ago to 7 months ago, you just kind of still kind of.
Yeah, the process was slow. It was like
So what do you think about that?
Like you said, sometimes the signs you're looking for comes from strange places.
Yes. So there was that part I wanted to talk to you about, and then one of the things that I thought was really cool. He says it later on in the podcast too. He said that some people love. Oh, I'll see if I can find it real fast. It might be easier if he explains it than me. He talks about why gyms are a great path to spirituality. And one of the things that I've noticed too is like growing up and stuff, working out. I mean, even in my house, you know, like as a kid, it's like being able to have those talks with people. It's almost like a form of therapy. And
Yes.
when you're working out with somebody and you're helping them or they're helping you and you're reaching goals or you get setbacks and then you come back stronger or whatever the case. Sometimes you have injuries and you never come back the same way. Like I can't do a lot of the same things that I used to be able to do because of surgery and stuff or other issues that have happened. Or just taking too much time off and just losing what I had in a way, if that makes sense. So it's like
That makes sense.
muscles not growing back correctly or back the same. So whenever you go to the gym, it's like, I mean, when me and you were going to the gym, how many people would come up to us because they recognize us working out together more often? Like when you were there consistently, more people will come up to you and say, "Hey, man, like keep killing it." Like everybody was just more positive, and
it was a constant. Yeah,
and I don't feel like there's any other place that's like that. Like just random strangers can come up to you and tell you how positive it is that you're there, that it like motivates them. You know, like for example, do you remember seeing that kid there? He kind of reminded us of Mikey from Recess.
Yeah.
Dude, he is jacked now. And it's insane because it's like
he's the one that would like do like an hour straight cardio, wasn't he?
I think sometimes he'd be there like 4 hours. But he ended up competing in a show. And like it became his lifestyle. And it's not like it needs to be for everybody, you know, but just now every time I see him, I'm like, bro, what's up? Like pretty much will like give me a hug at the gym. Like I don't even know his name. But like he was such a nice kid and stuff. And like just seeing his progress and seeing his journey and seeing where he's like ended up compared to before. It's like now he's got a girlfriend, he's got a kid on the way, like all this stuff. And it's like then you got other people that you would see at the gym. I mean, you might see all the time, like our friend James. It's like we became friends with him from the gym. And like now he's like one of our buddies that we hang out with all the time. So it's like, and then you get people from the gym. Like I remember we had a party, like a little house party. You were there for that, right? What is like the majority of the people were friends from the gym? Yeah, so it's like weird things like that can happen, you know. So I don't know. I just thought it was kind of cool, and like he was just going to talk about why gyms are a great place for spirituality. I was just going to play a little bit of that for you, if that's cool.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
real, bro.
That's so beautiful, man.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And you know, I'll tell you, so now that I'm in that space, and this I understood before too. He says that, and I believe this. He said he thinks gyms, he says, are amazing because they're some of the most inclusive, accepting places. You know this, bro.
100%.
You go into a gym, if you're working hard, it don't matter what you look like, it don't matter anything. People like want to help you, they believe in you. Like, some of the most accepting gyms in the world, the most hardcore.
Yeah.
Period.
It's weird how the people think the opposite.
No, it's true, bro. Go to a hardcore dungeon with chalk and rust, and you don't know how to work out, and you go try and go ask the scariest looking meathead, and they'll take their time to help you because it's a wonderful environment.
Yeah.
So Father Steve's like, it's one of the most inclusive, and he said it's also a great path to spirituality because people get into fitness because they want to look better, but if they stay in it long enough, then they want to be healthier, then they want to be better people, then they accept themselves, and they
Bro, the gym is just like, it's a representation of like anything in life that you want to accomplish.
Totally.
It's the same exact concept.
Totally.
It's difficult. It's hard. It hurts. It makes you a little bit better.
Changes your relationship to pain. Like I remember I had a client, like when I was an early trainer, I remember one of my first workouts with a client. I had this woman I was training, she was doing tricep press down. And I mean, it was light. She never worked out, right? So I went real light. And I remember she dropped the bar, like she let go of the bar, weight stack slammed. I'm like, what's the matter? She's like, I'm hurt. I'm like, what do you mean? Where's it hurt? And then she's describing to me, I'm like, oh, that's your tricep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's your tricep.
It's burning like
and then
it's supposed to.
Yeah. And then it dawned on me, like your workouts hurt more than a beginner's workouts do because you're advanced, but you have a different relationship to pain.
Yeah.
Do you think there's carryover to to everything?
To everything.
That's right.
But there's also just like that same exact concept of like anything else you do in life is related to the gym. I really believe the gym is like one of the most important things in just human fucking nature.
It's one of the most powerful vehicles for personal growth because it's also one of the most unassuming. Because right now I'm talking about my spiritual journey, my faith, right? But if I just walk up to anybody, hey, come talk to me, like you're getting a lot of people be like, I want to hear that, right?
Yeah.
But I can walk up to almost anybody and talk to them about looking better.
Yeah.
And they're going to be open. So it's powerful because it's unassuming. Like people get into it not knowing they're on this like personal growth journey. They're just like, I want to have abs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stay on it long enough and watch what happens. It's a growth journey.
It's crazy too, because my entire life, like everything I have is through it and from it.
Yep.
Like conversations, like moments that I've had, like aha moments in my life. I'm like, I didn't think of it that way. Like network, people that I've met, everything has come from the gym to some degree.
That's right. You learn, everyone's like, oh, you learn how to work hard.
Okay. This is the main part that I wanted. I should have timestamped everything and
started it.
Okay. What did you say?
I was gonna say, what, you were gonna start there?
Yeah, I probably should have started here. But I don't know. I just this is the part that makes a lot of sense to me, and this is the part that I really wanted to know. So
But that's true. But you also learn how to fail. You learn body acceptance.
Yeah.
Right. At some point, like I remember at some point I was like, I'm not gonna look like Arnold, but I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah.
You start to accept yourself. Like some of the best body acceptance you'll see are fitness fanatics who are like in their 60s and 70s because they're just like, oh, this is how it's my body.
You learn how to communicate.
You learn how to communicate. Yeah. You learn, you develop a relationship with pain. What's good pain? What's bad pain?
The pain.
Struggle. You see, like you talk to fitness people about their, like people who are really consistent, been doing it for years, and they don't make excuses for their lack of, well, yeah, I know why I'm not getting the results I want.
Yeah.
Versus like a lot of people just make excuses. They blame everybody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, it's a great vehicle for personal growth. It's the best.
I feel like we need to figure out a way to make the gym more of like a thing in the United States again. It was such a cool thing. I feel like it was cool. Like, I don't know if it was the 80s or the 90s or like it was so much more pushed.
Yeah.
Now it's just like,
that's us, man. It's us.
We got to make it cool.
That's us. It's how we communicate it. You know, our goal with my podcast, our goal has always been to we don't target fitness fanatics, although we have a lot of them that listen to us. We're trying to get the average person who is not going to become a fitness professional. They just want to have a better life. That's my job is I want to get those people to figure this out and be able to do this for the rest of their life. That's what I care about. I care about the 90% that are just missing it. And the best way to do that, the most effective way to do that is you got to coach them. So it's a relationship. So we do 5 episodes a week on purpose so that if you get in, I'm in your ear, every day, most days of the week, and I'm coaching you along the way.
You film 5 episodes
every.
So one of the things that he mentions that thought he was, that's what I was like, oh, here it comes, and it didn't come. It might have been later on. It might have been later on, but Sal said that some people love to walk and some people love the destination. He goes, the one who loves to walk will enjoy the destination more because people who only love the destination won't go as far. They get to their destination and then that's it. It's like sometimes there's more than the destination. But if you're only looking for point B, there's point A, point B. If you're only looking to get to point B, it's like, well, you're stopping at point B and you might get disappointed. Where if you're enjoying the walk, that's the same thing with life. That's the same thing with like your goals and stuff. Like, don't just look at your goal as being the final thing. The process is what's the part of life. It's like life. It's like they show, like, they always show a picture where it's like what people think success is, and it's just like a diagonal line to success from where they started, and it's like they just go
where it actually ebbs and flows,
squiggly lines and all that stuff. And it's like that's where I want to get at. It's like the biggest thing is loving and enjoying the process. It's like that's where he's saying it's like don't just think that you're starting here and you're getting there with like no issues, sometimes you got to go back, you got to backtrack, you got to be like, oh, I don't know what's going on. But if you enjoy the process, that's what I think he means by don't just enjoy the destination, enjoy the walk, enjoy the process. Because once you get to the destination, you're not going to look at it as like, okay, I'm done. Excuse me. You're not going to look at it as like, okay, I'm done. You're going to look at it as like, man, I got to do this. I got to see this. I got to meet these people. I got to experience blah, blah, blah. It's like, I feel like the process is such a cool situation or option, and it's like, that's one thing that I've been feeling more content with, especially the podcast too. Like whenever we record, for the longest time, dude, I was getting so stressed and so pissed. And like, before I go into what I was saying, when I was telling her, okay, don't just love the destination, love the walk. It's like, if you could walk and enjoy that the entire time, then once you get to the destination, that's not it. There's more to it. And I think that there's more on top of that too. I'll touch back on that. But I was like, she told me, she's like, another thing that ties into loving the walk is learning to listen and follow God's lead. She goes, when I say follow God's lead, I mean reading scripture and acting accordingly. It's so easy to fall back into our old ways of complaining about people or having an attitude. Those things can be like second nature. But when you meditate on the fruits of the Spirit and try to live your life out of love, it brings more peace and satisfaction than it would by telling them off. That's one of the things too. It's like sometimes I would vent, and she goes, I had a situation where I worked at where one of my coworkers really made me mad. It felt like a direct attack on me. At the time, she said, I read, try to put your name in the place of the word love. So like, in the scripture where it's like, when reading the fruits of the Spirit, love is patient, love is kind, love is not quick to anger, keeps no record of wrongs, and so on. She said, put your name in that position. So it would be like, COAD is kind. Dynamite is not quick to anger. Kente keeps no records of wrongs. You know? So it would be
Yeah.
something like, and then she goes, that was in my head when the situation happened, and I wanted to tell my friend about it. I wanted to be angry and vent to her, but I keep telling myself I am not quick to anger. I don't keep record of wrongs. It took me a few hours to get through that anger, but once I was past it, it didn't seem all that big. What I learned is that we put our own bodies through stress and worries and anger, things that affect our bodies in negative ways, elevating our cortisol levels, blood pressure, and who knows what else. I really do believe that if we walk with God, not only will we maintain a healthy body, but an even healthier mind. The more you walk in love, I think the more you enjoy life and that journey. Then by the time you get to heaven, you have so much more to appreciate at the destination of what you walk through to get there. So then I told her, I was listening to Roseanne. You remember Roseanne?
Yeah.
I was listening to her podcast, and she mentioned how the media or politics was getting her so angry, and she wanted to just blow up and do something. And she said that anger solves that feeling of frustration so briefly. It's like, could you imagine, like, when you get so pissed and you just punch something, you're like, oh, but then after you're
Yes.
like, oh, my hand, like, it's like the anger solves that feeling of frustration, but so minuscule compared to like what could be like if you ask for peace, And she goes, as soon as you punch someone or something, or write a mean post to get back at back then, after you feel so bad about it, and it doesn't even make you feel good at all. So I was like,
Mhm.
that was very interesting. I like that. And then and it's like you think that getting it off your chest is what is going to make you feel better, but it doesn't. I read another verse that talked about venting. Fools give full vent to their rage, but the wise bring calm in the end. And sometimes it's like that's the case. And I was like, that's very interesting. I never thought about it, about the venting being like the extension of anger. Maybe venting makes you help the other person feel the same way you do, so you get them to be angry with that person or situation. And then she also told me like another theory. Sorry, sorry, she texted me a
No,
lot.
you're good.
She goes, here's a theory. What if emotion is a frequency? Situation. My mom is angry. She is cleaning in anger, and you try to help, and she snaps at you. Then you go to the dad to vent, which draws out more anger, and dad shares with you the attitude she gave him too. Now you have an angry household pitted against each other. Sometimes it feels like anger is too strong of an emotion to fight. What if that's another area where we need to ask God for his strength in or strengthen, because it's too hard to get past that on our own? If dad starts reminiscing about my dog, my old dog, um, it makes him sad, or it makes my sister sad. So like if my dad starts talking, I had a dog that just passed away around Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and if my dad starts reminiscing about her because he loved her and misses her too, it makes my sister sad because I get to thinking about her and how I miss her happy greets, like her greeting her happily. But then you had a hard day at work, and let's say it's October 2024 before my other dog that I got. You come home, and uh, my other dog is there just as happy to see you. So I don't know. It was just an interesting thing. And she was like, maybe that's why music can affect our mood, because emotion and music can be altered by frequency. So,
Yes.
and then this is the last of it. I said, that's interesting for sure. What if frequency is just a term we use because we can't figure out what it is, what it all is connected to? That's how I feel when people say energy, or if something has a good or bad energy. There's something to it, but we can't put our finger on it to pinpoint exactly what it is, that effect of, or the effect of it. So, but the thing that I wanted to talk about, well, was Sal, was and I'll finish here with this. All right, the whole learn to love the walk, not just the destination.
Okay.
I was like, people look at heaven as the destination. Well, what if that's um, people look at heaven as the destination, but that's when eternity starts and we can live and walk forever.
That makes sense. You know, our journey here is what prepares us for that walk. So
Yeah.
everybody's focused on getting there and not how they get there.
Yeah. And like, this is also temporary. It's like, that's not a reason not to live and enjoy the walk and enjoy and do things here. Like, that's one of my big things too. It's like, um, I'll be sad about something, or mad about something. And it's like, there's no way I'm doing that. Like, forget it. Like, and it just
Yeah.
puts you in a mood, and then you're not getting to that destination. Or I mean, the destination, there could be multiple destinations, but say it's like, oh, I don't want to see that person there, or I don't want to deal with this. And one thing that I noticed too was, um, especially talking with you this past weekend in Swank, it's like I'd be so mad at Chente. No, I'm just kidding. With my living situation, I
Yeah.
have a kid living here. I'm helping him out and stuff or whatever. But I was I was so I would get mad and upset with little things that he did, but he didn't know that I was getting mad and upset. And then I would go and vent to you guys about it, or my sisters or family, and it would make me even more mad because it would start consuming me. And I'm like, this kid's not doing this. He's not doing this. He's not doing this right. He's not doing this right. And people
Yeah.
are agreeing with me. Like, yeah, I don't like that. Why is he doing that? Why are you letting him do that? And then it started to dawn on me like, well, I never gave him boundaries. I never gave him guidelines. I never said, "Hey, like, do you do any chores?" I never gave him things to do. That was never an option. So then today, I was just like, I was starting to get mad. Like, man, he's in my chair. He's not cleaning up. He's leaving dishes. But then I'm like, well, I'm cleaning up the dishes. I'm letting him sit wherever he wants. I'm letting him not clean. I'm enabling without realizing it. But instead of
Yeah.
giving guidelines or asking or making suggestions, I was so mad that he wasn't reading my mind. And I think that's what happens when you get mad about something or you get frustrated about something and um you don't give any guidance or direction or tell people how you feel, or tell people what's in your head or what's on your mind. It's like you don't have to I don't have to vent to you about somebody. I can, but with this kid living here, it's like this morning he was like, "Hey, I'm not working all day." Well, I worked from home today. So it's like I pulled him aside or I started writing stuff down on a
Hmm.
notebook, and I just was like making a list of stuff. And he's like, "Oh, what are you writing?" Because he was curious. He's like, "Dude, you're writing a lot." Like I had a whole page full of stuff. But I was like, "Hey, did you have chores when you were living at your last place?" And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "So you didn't clean your room?" "Oh no, I cleaned my room." "You didn't do dishes?" "Oh no, I did dishes." I'm like, well, those are chores, man. I'm not going to give you a bunch of stuff, random stuff to do. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, take care of your own. So I was like, here's a list of stuff. I go, the bedroom. I want the the clothes that are the dirty laundry needs to be washed. But I go sweep, dust, wash the window or clean the windows, um, fold any laundry and put it in a drawer or hang it up. And I was like, and then here's a garbage can. If there's trash, take it out once a week if it needs taken out. I was like, and then your bathroom, you have your own bathroom. I go clean the toilet once a week, spray stuff in the shower every day, maybe clean the sink once a week, clean the mirror once a week, maybe clean the floor as needed. I was like, worst case scenario, if you're doing your towel, you're gonna wash your towel. We go spray the floor, then the tile floor down there, and then just use the same towel to dry it up or wipe it up and clean it up, and then you're washing the towel anyway. So,
Yes.
and then I was like, laundry. I just was like a list of things, and it's like, dude, I told him after the end, I'm like, the biggest thing was I don't want to overwhelm you with things. Don't look at this list as everything needs to be done today or right now. I was like, we I was like, this list isn't just for you, this is for me too. Like, I'm not doing what's on this list, and this is a to-do list for me too. I was like, so from now on, this is a to-do list for both of us. You have your own bedroom, I have my own room, I have like the house, like I can I still have to clean the rest of the house. I still have to take care of the dogs. I still have to feed them. Like, these are chores that I do every day for myself and my dogs. I'm not going to put that on him. So after talking with him, man, it just like, I felt so much pressure taken off my chest, and I felt so much better because I was able to mention those things to him and not like attack him. And that's what I was afraid of doing. I think my biggest thing was I was afraid of showing him all these things and saying, you're not doing any of this. You need to do it all. But I'm not doing any of this either. I need to do this. So as I start doing this, I want you to start doing it as well. And like, there was a lot more understanding. And then I got a home gym in my basement and I started working on a few projects. So I was like, hey man, do you want to start working out? Or do you want to start doing like a workout program? Kind of got him pumped up about it. We ended up doing like maybe a 45-minute workout together. Went upstairs. I had dinner that I just needed to make, like just throw it in the oven type of thing, and it was done. And then it was and the hard thing was like, hey, don't sit in my chair. Like, that's my chair. But I'm like, I don't care if you sit in my chair or whatever. You know, you want to watch Netflix, but don't watch it all day long. We have to do certain things. Your room can't be a mess and you're watching TV all day. You know, like, that's just, my parents wouldn't let me do it, so I can't let him do it living in my house.
Yes.
So one of the things was like, he challenges me. Hey, loser has to do dinner, like make dinner. I'm like, well, it's already marinated. I just need to bake it. I go, let's raise the stakes. I go, winner gets the chair. And we're working out. So I'm like, I got this. So when we're going to watch wrestling in 30 minutes, I get my chair. And I go, you can't sit in my chair until you beat me. So
Hey, that's one way to do it.
yeah. So
Yep. It's about finding that communication level and then just
yeah, exactly. So I got a couple things and I'm done. But you got a thought for the day, or you want me to do some trivia first?
let's do some trivia.
All right. We'll do schemes.
Ooh, what kind of schemes?
Conspiracy trivia schemes. Now, says, what religious leader was given money by the CIA to help fund their anti-government activities? This is crazy. A, Mahatma Gandhi. B, the Dalai Lama. C, Mother Teresa. Or D, Jim Baker.
Read the question one more time.
What religion, and for all the listeners out there, write it down. You're going to listen, play along. I forgot. We never say that. Play along with us, you know, try to guess it. We'll give you some time. If you heard the question the first time, you know the answers. Just play along with us. So, what religious leader was given money by the CIA to help fund their anti-government activities? And your options are A, Mahatma Gandhi, B, the Dalai Lama, C, Mother Teresa, or D, Jim Baker.
I want to say Baker, for something that's leading me toward Gandhi. Not Gandhi, the Dalai Lama.
Okay. So what's your answer?
My final answer is going to be the Dalai Lama.
Okay, I have a question for you, though. Who
Okay.
is Jim Baker? Do you know who that is?
The name sounds familiar, but like facts aren't like popping in when I hear the name, but the name registers.
I almost would have thought Mother Teresa, but you were correct. The Dalai Lama.
The Dalai Lama. Oh,
yeah, he had some weird stuff.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just like he stuck out the most to me.
Yeah, I don't know where you put the used questions, on the front or the back, or the front or the back.
I can't remember either.
Okay, either way, well, you'll see one if you don't. And then I got a couple other ones real quick.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, I got a couple books. We never do book shout outs.
No, we do not. Shame on us.
All right. So not to get too personal, but I was dating a girl a few years back, and I found the book again, and I completely forgot. And then the bookmarks were like pictures of us, so I was like, "Oh shoot!" Like I forgot all about this. But it's a 40-day men's devotional. Ignite your faith, get back in the fight by Tim Clayton and Max Davis.
Okay.
And it pretty much is like it's got some boxing gloves on it. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, and then
Yeah.
it just has like different like scripture. It has like a little bit of a story, and then I think they even give like they have like Customato and like Robert Duran and like different boxers or fighters and stuff like that. And
Okay.
I don't know if it's exactly like them giving their I think it gives like a story, like there's some of the stories in here like David versus Goliath and stuff like that. So that one might be a cool read, especially with this episode being like faith based. And then my buddy, he just gave me this book, which was funny. I just called him today and like wanted to verify something, but it's The Men We Need.
Ooh, the men we need.
And it says God's purpose for the manly man, the avid indoorsman, or any man willing to show up. But what's funny is like, I mean, out of all the pages, there's like, I don't know how many chapters there are. But there's like 200 and I don't know, 40 pages. But what's funny is, and some people don't believe in coincidences. So I called him to double check because he put a little bookmark and like a note in here for me. And
Uh-huh.
and I thought it was interesting. I called him today and I was like, dude, I've been meaning to ask you about this. I completely forgot. But when you gave me the book, the bookmark was on a specific chapter. And it says how to be incredibly awesome and somehow less attractive to women. I was like, hey, is that a coincidence or did you do that on purpose? Like, is it like the Bible, like you start with the New Testament, so I'm going to be reading in the middle? Or I was like, was I supposed to start with this chapter? I was like, are you trying to tell me something? I was like, do I need to be less attractive? I feel like I already am. No. But, and then the other book, we got these for Christmas.
Oh yeah, Project Red.
Project Red, an infamous esoteric reality by M. Allen Wagner. I was talking with our friend Ginny, and she recommended this guy to come on our podcast and stuff. So I'm gonna try to read this. And the only thing though, I don't know if I got a different copy or something. You might want to check for yourself, but none of my pages have page numbers. So I don't know how many pages it is. So I mean, it's pretty long. I don't know if I'll get to the whole thing by the time we have him on. I'm not a really good reader, but interesting stuff for sure. Talks about UFOs, esoteric type stuff, and different philosophies. Take you down a rabbit hole to uncover more obscure aspects of the phenomenon and challenge everything thought to be or to have been interacting with humanity since the dawn of recorded time. But you can get his book on Amazon. That's where we got our copies. Check this dude out. We'll definitely have him on. Like eventually, I definitely want to have him on. I want to get through the book first before we even bring him on. But I think that's it, man. You got any thought for today's?
Oh yes, I have thought for the day.
Do you want me to read it? I'm just kidding.
Well, I feel like this one kind of touches a little bit about what you were saying, what we were talking about today. Sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same.
Very, very good. And I want to give a shout out one more time to my friends Melanie and her husband Will for the Shield Republic shirt. It's a great fit, matches my beard perfectly with the olive green hair on my face and the shirt. And it says on the back, Noah was a conspiracy theorist, and then it started to rain, or then it rained. I just thought it was a pretty cool shirt. It fits great. It looks good. I feel like I've lost some weight and I've been able to wear it now. But definitely wanted to give them a shout out. They've they've been cool from the beginning. Know them from work.
Okay.
And Will's super cool too. Well, maybe we can get him on the podcast one day. But
Okay.
I think that's it, man. You got any last words?
None that I can think of at the moment.
And I thought today was episode 14. It would be if we were still in season 2.
Oh.
And season 3.
So this is episode 1.
Yeah.
We're starting fresh.
Yeah. Get that clean mentality, clean heart, clean mind, clean arm dance without Chente.
Tribal Chinte.
Yeah. I need to sit down more on the seat. I don't know if I can.
Well, I didn't realize the light was going to shine off my head when I lifted the phone to catch my finger. So I'm not sure if you've even seen it.
Yeah.
I've been kind of like randomly moving and adjusting so the light wouldn't just like glare off my head in the glasses.
I thought that blanket had mountains on it. It's a wolf.
Oh, yeah.
That's sick.
Well, it's a blanket. Oh, wrong way. It's a blanket and my curtain at the same time.
Oh, nice.
You should see the sun when it comes through it. Oh, it looks amazing.
You have to post it on the Instagrams.
On the grams. Speaking
hey,
of which, you know,
oh, yeah.
follow our Instagram, Speaking in Code.
No.
Podcast.
SpeakInCOAD.
Yeah, I don't know why I keep messing it up. Speaking Code Podcast on Instagram, Speaking Code Podcast on Facebook, and don't we have a Twitter?
Yep. We got a Twitter.
Or an X, or, you know, I'm calling it Twitter. I don't care what other people call it.
Yeah. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter are all merged, and they called it You Twit Face.
You twit. Yeah, you twit faces.
Yeah. But
follow the Speaking Code Podcast.
Yes. Like and subscribe. Tell us what you think. We probably don't care what you think, but we think we would care. I don't know. We'll pray on it.
We pretend to care what you think.
Yeah. Give us suggestions.
Oh, yes, definitely. Suggestions for like conspiracies and topics to talk about.
Yes, definitely. You got any final thoughts or prayers? T's and P's?
Oh, no, sir, I do not.
All right, cool. Well, we acknowledge you, Tribal Chente.
We acknowledge you, our Tribal Chente.
Swank the tank.
I like it.
Serving with the noble cause. And this is Code Conspiracy of a Dead Man. Sitting here with Teddy Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Yeah, Dynamite. And sorry, I keep getting the last word. I'll let you talk. This is the Conspiracy of a Dead Man. Speaking Code Podcast. Stay safe, stay blessed, keep on questioning, and check out Raw on Netflix. Or go to Netflix and watch Raw WWE. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
We don't get paid for that. I mean, it'd be cool if we did, but
One day.
So but all right, dude. Well, I'll let you check out Raw. Sorry I kept you on so late. This is an hour.
No, you're good, sir. You're good, sir.
I'll edit out my pee time and some other stuff, but we'll be good. All right, dude. I'll talk to you later, okay? Let me know what you think of Raw.
Talk to you later.
Go watch it.
Okay, same.
Oh boy. All right, dude. Good night.
Good night.